What's up, Go enthusiasts? Today we have a very special game between Park Chung-won, my favorite player of all time, and Fan Yun-ro. They played in the finals of the Nongshim Cup, the every year tournament between China, Korea, and Japan. Yeah, they play 5 players per country here every single year. And this was China versus Korea for the win. Park Chung-won has black, Fan Yun-ro has white. This is a very interesting game, partially because it came in 2017 in February. That's about a year after AlphaGo played against Lee Sedol, but before AlphaGo played against Ke, and the bots were really common and strong. So back then, Park Chung-won still believed that the mini Chinese is good, which no one believes this anymore. And the way to beat it hadn't been discovered yet either. So this is not the way, like, all modern players are going to go and approach to the bottom right. But it went like this. Totally different game than what we do, than anything we see these days. And yet they're still very, very, very good. So we're going to see extremely high quality continuation from this game. You can note Park Chung-won is doing stuff like enclosing the upper right corner, allowing White to play here, thinking that that is going to allow him to fix the bottom right corner. And yeah, this is all a very natural and good looking flow, actually. Even to these days. I think these days you would be more likely to see this one directly enclosing the corner, but this is of course totally fine. And we see Fan Yun-ro play cap. You wouldn't see this these days. You just wouldn't. It's not a move. But it's totally fine, actually. Very hard to punish. I think the only way that black can gain an actual advantage against that cap now, according to AI, it saw briefly, was clamp. And obviously this is aiming at covering this way, with the idea that the right side group can be weak and that the cap group can be weak. That's really hard to execute. So instead, Park Chung-won does a much easier thing to execute. He plays attach and falls back all the way like this. Now you can see very, very clearly what Park Chung-won has gotten. It is that area. Yeah, he has that and he has that. Great, good start. The thing is, Fan Yun-ro is happy to give that to him, and he should be, because those are very, very solid areas. And in the meantime, White is the one who's getting some control over the initiative and the wide board space of the game. Well, Black was happy to be able to at least get to play Hane here. Part of the reason why Black probably thought this is possible is because either White's going to descend and Black gets a base, or White takes the base and Black gets to play this absolutely important move, forcing White to fix this way. And you can say that White's shape is kind of bad because Black is able to get ahead of it towards the side and towards the center. And Black starts by tanuking like this, because he doesn't want to just take this area. This is too small of an area to take right away. So he chooses to play from the upper left area. And we have this Joseki, and once again, you'll note this is the time just before AI changed Joseki. So we get to see attach here and Hane here. After that, we see Hane on this side. We wouldn't really see this these days, but Fan Yun-ro, actually it's not wrong to do it like that. He had a pretty good idea. I mean, this is well understood Joseki, but they still have the same idea of what the well understood Joseki is, which is that, okay, Black can jump here. This is part of the Joseki pattern that they knew. And then White can't exactly break that right away in the upper left. There's no good sequence to break that. But White can still be just satisfied with what you have, because the chances to break it later gives you a lot of potential towards the center here, which is a lot of control, and White can be happy to take that and then tanuki. And yeah, this is a really good sequence overall. I would say nowadays, basically everybody has been told you should do this one. And after that, Black can extend here, and then there's several ways. I think a lot of people were told you should just exchange this Atari, although I'm not exactly sure it's ideal. But the idea is like, oh, Black's going to be over-concentrated here. But to be honest, if you did this in this board state, it's really easy to imagine it becoming trouble when this kind of thing happens. Or even here directly and making some co. Yeah, I would imagine that this is going to be a much harder way to play the game compared to what Fan Yun-ro did, which is he lowered his expectations. He didn't say, I'm going to get the whole left side, I'm going to start building the bottom side and all this stuff, and allow Park Chung-won to be like, well, you can't do all that. Instead, he did something which he definitely can do. He said, I'm going to take the bottom left, and I'm going to have some general power towards the center, which I'm going to use for the rest of the game. Portion one's like, well, I mean, yeah, if that's all you want, then you're allowed to get it, so I guess I'll take the top side and keep playing the game. But just because it's all that Fanninro wants, and he's allowed to get it, doesn't mean it's small. So the game is actually trending, I'd say, in White's favor, especially as White plays this excellent move, covering that weakness while still being quite expansive. It's pretty hard for Black to imagine covering Komi when White is getting all these, like, pretty big solid territories. Black has these big solid territories, but it's hard to imagine it growing out of control and being too big to match. So he does something a little bit over the line, I would say. He Hane, look to build this area, but not really. Mostly look to cut. You have to do something strong if you want to make a fight so that you can catch up, right? So that you don't have to worry that the opponent is going to have too much territory. So he cuts and White fixes like this and fight. And now we get a game which, honestly, in 2017, they were playing this stage of the game just about as well as they'd play it these days. At this point, they don't have very much AI assistance these days. And like, okay, this is a fight no one's ever seen before. We have to use our own brain. Sometimes you can use some ideas that came to your mind from AI, or you can be like slightly predisposed to the ones you've seen be good before. But for the most part, everybody is flying just the same from here on out. So it's a really interesting opening, and now we get to play a game which we wouldn't really get to play this kind of game very often these days. Anyway, White has to take care of his bottom side group there, and he also has to take care of his one stone. And ideally, what he's going to do is he's going to say, I can get the bottom side as my benefit, and I can use my control of the center somehow to help me reduce the Black territory here, and just, in general have good initiative. So he chooses to extend here, which is a very natural good move. It does give Park Ching-wan a natural good move as well, which is to push here, like this. Now, if White would block, then Black would get to peep for free, and then White's block is not doing anything. It says 2 stones, so White just connects instead. And he definitely was like allowing this on purpose when he extended. He was like, all right, I can extend, my opponent's going to get to push here, and that actually breaks a lot of territory. So he sacrificed the territory on purpose. He was saying, well, if I extend, then I'm going to get it to be on top of those 2 stones, and I'm going to make the game really hard on Black in general from here. And it's true, the game is going to be really hard for Black. Black has to run out those stones, but he doesn't want to run out in a way which just feeds the 1 stone on the bottom side to White. Like, if he would just jump here, it's too easy for White to capture that, I think. So, run out this way instead. Now, if White comes back to capture, then Black can maybe re-attack the 2 stones in the center, so White covers from the center first. And Black attaches, because anyway, there's still no way to do this. White is going to break through. There's no way for you to ever make this clean. You can see, for example, read like this. This is something that they were definitely reading. And it's just not working now. Black is caught. Those 4 stones are going to die. Bada boom. And White is winning by 1,000,000 points. So Black wouldn't commit on anything like that. Park Ching-wan has no way to commit to saving this 1 stone right now. There's no way to run it out that would actually attack these bottom side stones. This is something Fan Yun-ro is really good at. He managed to make his stones be almost attackable, but not quite attackable, and therefore give his opponents major pressure that he can't figure out what to do. So Black attached here. Actually, Park Ching-wan can figure out what to do, because he's Park Ching-wan. But most opponents, if I were playing, I wouldn't figure out what to do, because I'm like, how do I touch this? I can't touch this. And so the goal, what Park Ching-wan showed is, in order to be like, I can't touch this, but I'm still going to do something, you have to say, I can do something else which is meaningful. So here, Park Ching-wan attached and then pushed here, trying to make this outside White group heavy. So White answers like this. It's a good answer, good shape. But then the point for Black was that now Park Ching-wan can run out here, and he can run like this. So that running on the outside was finally threatening that he could actually do something to save that 1 stone. So White jumped up, which is stopping it mostly. And Black is saying, hey, now I might be able to attack your stones over here. Okay, well, Fan Yun-ro says, I dare you, do it. You go ahead, cut me. And Park Ching-wan first sacrifices this 1 stone, allows White to come back to capture it. That was to fix the cut here first, so it implies that Park Ching-wan thought he needed strength for the next thing he's about to do. That means he's about to cut. So he calls out Fan Yun-ro. He's like, hey, come on. this cut is working, isn't it? Like, you can't capture my 1 stone, so now you have to save your stones over here. This is the whole point. I was trying to get my counterattack going. white extends up. Fan Yunro is very good at leaving his groups just attackable enough to make you think about it without being attackable enough for you to do something about it. So he leaves this center group here, and Park Chang-hwan ignores. It was, again, a great move by Park Chang-hwan. I mean, he's showing exactly what to do against this kind of play. Should he extend here? No. If he extends here, he's just going to let white figure out something comfortable to do with the group. He doesn't, extending here, you're not actually thinking you're killing the group, so what are you getting? You're just putting stones in an area which you don't really want. So instead he put stones in an area which he does want, which is to make sure that this black group does not get under severe attack, and that the top side black group does not get under severe attack. Problem is, although this stone is good shape, Fan Yunro has a good shape move of his own, which is Atari here. It's a great question that Fan Yunro is asking, which is, do you want to connect, save the one stone, right? It's definitely a very valuable move for black to connect there. Or, on the other hand, you could capture, right? If you capture, then that is going to save your bottom side, bottom center group really strongly, but it's going to let white push through. Now, white's push through has a lot of shape weaknesses still. It's going to be able to be Hanade and harassed from the outside with an Atari, and all those shape weaknesses are going to give black some initiative in the center. However, you lose a lot of territory. Now, if you connect, then you keep the territory, but you get a lot of shape weaknesses in the center, and your control is not nearly so good. So the correct answer was not to connect. It was to capture. But it's so hard to figure out this kind of thing. It leads to two entirely different games. Even Park Chang-hwan can't figure it out. So, you know what? When I get this kind of situation in my game, I'm going to forgive myself a bit more. Allow myself to get the judgment wrong, as long as I'm making the judgment on purpose. I think it's clear. Even humans at Park Chang-hwan's level, super top 9 pro level, can't figure it out. And Fan Yunro uses that against him. He's like, okay, well, you want to play Tiger's Mouth, that's great. But then when I Atari, which one are you going to do? It's literally impossible to humanly know. I mean, it probably isn't impossible. Probably someone can figure it out if they if I asked Shinjin So figure this out and explain it to me in a lecture for 2 hours, and he could probably do it. But it's really hard, is the point. These kinds of questions. These are really, really impossible to know. So Fan Yunro uses the fact that black connected. And he uses it very, very well. He says, okay, so that means I have more Aji over here. You didn't cover, you didn't capture. So that means I have a route in to this side. So can I cut you here? Can I use the fact I have a route in to attack those two stones? And Park Chang-hwan's like, no, I don't think I should do that. I don't think I should allow that. This is also wrong by Park Chang-hwan. Apparently, he was supposed to play here. And then there's some nonsense about how he needs to immediately Tanuki the push through here to play through here, and that the left side should somehow be more important than the center. I don't understand. This is, again, so hard. Nobody can really know. It seems like connecting here, I mean, at the very least, it could be the right thing to do. It seems like it's the right thing to do. It was the wrong thing to do. Fan Yunro plays, again, the perfect punish. Aiming at cutting off this black group, black needs to just answer like this. It's the best shape move. But you can see what's happened here is using that Atari, somehow, just magically, an area appeared here. And that's an area from a situation where white wasn't thick at the start of this sequence, but white somehow became thick and got an area there, and he didn't even lose anything. It's not like the area down here is becoming black's. White is still the person who has control there, because white still has some attack against these black stones. So it was a really good sequence by Fan Yunro, just absolutely sublimely executed, to ask a question, ask, hey, what do you want to defend? What do you want to defend? What do you want to defend? And Park Chang-hwan's just getting twisted into knots, saying maybe this thing is important, maybe that thing's important, and answering everything. At the end here, white is winning. It's pretty, I think it's pretty clear. Black came in, he cut on the bottom side, trying to start a fight, trying to, switch the game up. And at the end, he just ran back and established no extra territory. White has established extra territory and potential territory in the center. White fixed all his bottom side problems and got all the territory on the bottom side. And white is now the one invading and attacking this one stone on the top side. It's clear white is leading, right? Now, of course, black has some shape defects to aim at in the future, and some, the game is not at all over. But it was very well played in the beginning here by Fan Yunro. So the game is very interesting because Park Chang-hwan's the favorite, right? So Fan Yunro getting an opening lead should make the game very fun to follow for the live audience, I'm sure. This game happened, by the way, on February 22nd of 2017. I started learning Go on February 19th of 2017, if I remember correctly. So 3 days after I started learning Go, they played this game. It's very interesting because obviously I wasn't following the Nongshim Cup 3 days after learning the rules, but it's very interesting. This is what was happening at that time when I picked up. So Black attached and White descended, and then Black ran out like this. This is Park Chung-won doing the same thing that I was describing as Fan Yunro is commonly doing before. So White has a hard time to figure out how exactly to attack this, so he doesn't. He attaches here. It's a great idea, actually. Don't try to attack the opponent who is saying, I'm going to be able to defend myself. Just say, all right, yeah, you're going to be able to defend yourself. But, you know, the fact that you had to defend yourself allows me to break more territory, get further ahead. Black is desperate at this point. So he plays Hane and triple Hane, which I've never seen before. And I think, honestly, for good reason. This was not a great move. And Fan Yunro could have punished it really, really hard, but he didn't. He played Atari here and Connect, which is actually kind of shocking, to be honest. It seems obviously better to capture this way. Now, after this, Black probably has to come back to capture, like so. And then White can start attacking these 3 stones on the top side. And, you know, a simple way to attack them is to just become thick yourself and say, hey, my group is really strong. Your group is not really strong. Your group is reduced in the corner. You know, let's continue to fight. And White is winning in this game by more than Komi, according to AI, if it goes like this. So White is ahead on the board. That would be a huge advantage. Now, you might be like, well, maybe Black didn't have to come back to capture there. Like, this might be what Fan Yunro is worried about. What if Black tries to play in the center? I think you could already, like, immediately play over here. And it's already, like, nearly working when you consider this turn. There's a lot of complications to the way it's actually going to turn out here. You can't block like this, but you can try to play Hane here. And then White is going to have to try to save like this. Seems like it's just barely going to work for White, but I'm not I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. I might mess up if I try to show you variations, but for the most part, usually this kind of thing, when it goes like this, it's going to work for White. Black is just like a little bit too thin here. For example, if it goes like this and here, then White can break through like that and capture. This is really tough. This is really, really tough stuff. But for the most part, if White would have captured that 1 stone, probably Black needs to go and fix the Aji. If not now, then like extremely soon. So White shouldn't have worried too much about that. And then if you're going to be able to capture a stone, let Black capture a stone, that should be efficient for White. Compared to what happened in the game, where White connected here and allowed Black to break through the top side. Now, the reason why this is so important isn't really what Black is getting territorially, because White actually is breaking a lot more territory in the corner with this Hane here. Now White is like nearly alive already with the stones in the corner. It's not quite alive yet, but it's pretty close. And the territory swing from that is immense. The problem is that Black became really strong on the top side by breaking through and capturing this 1 stone, getting the territory there. Now Black is suddenly like way less attackable than it used to be. So unattackable that when Fan Yunro turns on top of those 4 stones, Black tries to cap and attack. Oh, it's actually really scary for White. It's really scary. So yeah, this whole variation is much, much more difficult, I think, than just capturing and having a strong group here. If White had had a strong group and then give Black the corner, then White was even attacking here, let alone, the whole territory switch, also not even good. But okay. Fan Yunro is no slouch at defending his weak group. This is, his extreme skill, extreme strength for Fan Yunro. So he finds a very good way to do this. He plays attach here. And the idea is that Black should not be able to do this, as we can now play block here. And of course, Black is caught. 2 short of liberties in order to be able to press through. So Black forced to play on the outside Hane. And then White can extend here. And still, for similar reasons, black cannot consider cutting anytime. Black just has to fix on the top side, like this. And white can fix, black can fix, and white, he goes about it in a very special way of connecting. Eventually he comes around to connecting, but you'll note, right? This is already an elephant clamp situation. So when you get elephant clamped, you're going to have to make an empty triangle eventually. In this case, you have to make 2 empty triangles if you want to connect like this. If you do this right away, well, then black is quite free to do whatever the heck he wants to do. He could go attack this group, he could go attack that group. He does not have to care about this cutting point. But by clamping here first, well, black really wants to cut that off. And by tarring here first, black really wants to cut that off. And then when white connects here, white already got the cut and got an Atari first to give black a further source of liberty. White got far more control of the outside here, when eventually he was still going to play this empty triangle anyway, right? So it might seem like, oh, he took all his own liberties, but he took all his own liberties and let black play all his liberties by playing a whole bunch of far more active outside moves. So it's an instructive way to defend your weakness, right? A lot of people here, when they get this kind of weakness, are like, what's the best way to defend? But the best way to defend a weakness, which you're like, my opponent really shouldn't be able to force me to do that yet. They aren't thick enough. Like, look at how weak this black group is. Usually the best way to defend is get the active counterattacking moves, ask your opponent to get enough strength to really make you defend, and then defend at the moment when you absolutely have to. So clearly demonstrated by Fan Yin Ro here. Now black plays bamboo. Always make the bamboo. Park Sheng-wan, showing my motto. And Fan Yin Ro saves his group. So if he didn't do that, if he came back, obviously this one is a very big move. But then when black clamps here and pulls back, well, before Fan Yin Ro could potentially use some short liberties to try to save against this, but now it's going to be pretty hard. I mean, he actually can still try to use some short liberties of the entire black group, but this is kind of like obscene. It's tough. Tough to do a full liberty thing, but anyway, the point is that the corner is dead. So if black captures the whole corner here cleanly, probably white isn't going to be doing that well. I think the AI likes this variation anyway. Probably that means that the corner will not be captured cleanly. I kind of believe that. It's hard to imagine the corner dying just flat out. And yet, this is extremely dangerous. And when you're in the Nongshim Cup, team tournament final, and you're trying to win for your country, there's millions and millions of people watching. Very understandable to be like, okay, let me just live my corner. And white is leading still. Although, he missed some chances here. His opening was so strong. He's definitely still leading this game. And black played Atari. This is a great move by Park Sheng-wan. And it led to Fan Yin Ro having to sort of give a little bit more slack again. He Atari'd and pressed here. And when black pressed, he answered. So this went all kind of fast. Let's see why he had to give all this slack. Isn't he the counterattack king? Why couldn't he connect here? Just endure a couple weak groups. Well, it just didn't work. If black plays here, that was aiming at netting these stones. White should really save them. And then black can net these stones. So why did we connect? We were just gonna die bigger, right? Like, why we're giving them more? Well, for some reason AI still supports this, and for some reason, I'm pretty sure the reason is that this whole black group can still die even though it captured these stones. But this is very hard to really execute and demonstrate and like get your territory advantage out of. So very understandable. Instead of playing that way, getting really thick and having the advantage of being able to kill a 3-stone group, how about I just get a bigger space in the center, right? Like, that sounds a lot more comfortable to be able to win my game. And when this block happens, then this corner is in a lot of trouble to the peep here. So maybe it's possible to figure out a way to like kind of dodge around it. Actually, I haven't really solved this. Sumego. It doesn't look very easy. It doesn't look very possible. What can I say? Definitely a lot easier to simply answer here. And it's a good move as well, because answering here does not give black further pressure. Even if you didn't play away, then black would definitely be able to like be capturing some stones here and using those captured stones to apply pressure to this group, which is, by the way, still quite weak. It's actually, there's some very strong common techniques against this group. Fan Yin Ro knows about those techniques, but he's allowing it to happen, and he's just defending this corner instead of the right side, because he's a very, very good counterattacker. He's very good at letting the techniques happen and then just fighting through it. So first, Partition 1 plays on the left side. He tries to bully through sort of the last open endgame area. And Partition 1 knows he's still losing here, so bang! Tries to make something happen. I mean, you know, although this was not the most successful, still White got some territory from here, some territory, the whole bottom left. If I just highlight the areas, I guess is a good way to make my point. White's areas are still superimposing. Look at all that. Meanwhile, Black just has some third line here. It's still reducible. Big area here in the bottom right corner, but you know, that's about it. That's almost all he's got. So the only thing that Black can really do to try to balance this game and pay Comey, right, is to attack the right side, is to make something of this massive wall that he's got. And he can do that. So he plays this S11, very common starting move. You might wonder why did not you know, White could have just blocked here, right, and covered it. It seems like that would work, but it doesn't due to this attachment. This is a really common technique, actually. You guys should know about this. Memorize it if you've never seen it before. You can attack across the bamboo here, and when they block, you aim at the cut. You don't have to aim at the cut by literally cutting or by taking liberty, but just by making a stone such that the cut is safe, right? So now if White blocks again, then you cut like this. And obviously White dies, and everything is a total disaster. So that was never going to happen in a pro game. So obviously, Finding Row plays to fix it like this. And that means that Partition 1 gets to pull back and cut here. So now there can be some fighting, some trade back and forth, back and forth. You have White extending like this, and Black can Atari this way. Actually, there's another option here. Maybe we'll look at that. Because first, let's see what actually happened in the game. Partition 1 got this great squeeze. But there's a bunch of stones towards the center, which has almost no value. So maybe not that great. At least he gave a short liberty to White, so White has to now endure this one being Sente. But he doesn't have to just capture the 2 stones, he can at least play the double Atari first, which now Black is going to ignore. So when you look at the end result here, in the future, White is going to be able to make a life. On the right side here, there's a couple hidden eyes, basically the chance to link up to the upper right, and the fact that this black stone isn't connected. A couple hidden eyes that are going to give White life on the right side. So Black has already given up on really killing that. And he's just satisfied with the fact that he got a little bit of pressure over here, and Sente, and, you know, this S14 move in Sente is pretty big. But he did give a lot of thickness to White. He allowed White to save himself really well. And that's generally what's going to happen, by the way, when you attack something. And you're not super, super careful, and you attack something that's like kind of on the edge, like Finding Row seems to leave all his groups. Usually, White is just going to get stronger, and then, poof, your attacking advantage just disappears. You know, you had to find this extra detail. So what was the extra detail here? Apparently, Partition 1 should start with this one. And the idea is, well, if White just answers here, then now I can play here and here. Well, excuse me, not like that, but the same sequence as the game. And hey, look, I got the exchange. S14 was answered as S13. What a fool. I can now Atari and capture these White stones. Hurrah! So, of course, if you played here, White would not do that, but would instead play here. And you would have an entirely different game, which is now about the whole life and death of this White group, and basically a little bit more gain towards the bottom right. Probably this was better because the center value of fighting control was extremely minimal. It was extremely hard to use the stones that Partition 1 got in the center. But yeah, this was like, I don't know. This is the kind of trading which I would get wrong all the time as a human. It's just not very possible. So in the game, Partition 1 goes to the biggest endgame, playing this slide. It's so big, everybody knows. It's so big. And White answers like this. Already that's a small gain for Partition 1, so he's content to look at reducing over here. Already this is another small gain for Partition 1. He could continue to try to connect here at H19, continue with all that. But he chooses to try to get this Sente first. And White very sharply plays push and cut here. You might think, well, hang on. Hang on a second. You can push and break it like this. Isn't this going to be better? But no, this is not going to be better here. If push and push here, then you can see at the end, black is going to die like that. So this isn't the reason why. No, the reason why that this was going to be better for black is here, here, right? Wait. Let me check. Yeah, okay, check complete. Sorry, I just wanted to check with the AI to make sure I wasn't lying to you. But yeah, it is this sequence and then connect here. My reading was not wrong. But I was surprised. He was like, hang on, you really have to spend another move connecting and this is the punish? Yes, this is the punish. Wow, how good are these guys? They knew white can break through and black has to answer in Sente by giving white all the outside and just going into the corner. And they knew this is going to be good for black at the end. What incredible judgment skill to realize all the corner switching away, even though you can break through, like normally you punch through a territory, it's all over for the other guy. But here you punch through the territory and they just, go scatter and get the other little pebbles that they can acquire, and those pebbles turn out to be bigger. Look at how big the corner is. Wow. Incredible reading by Fanyenro then, to not do that. Not fall for Parching 1's bait, and instead play cut here, giving black the very meaningful Atari just in order to block and take the more meaningful topside. It's especially meaningful because, well, we'll see after this sequence here where black plays some Sente moves, black captures, and then white does not answer. What is he doing when he doesn't answer? Well, black is threatening now to make a ko on the top side. We'll see that later. And white is like, okay, I was defending it when it was serious, when you were going to take it all with, one move. But now that I've exchanged this Atari and you've captured and saved your 3 stones, now it's only ko if you try to steal away the whole upper left corner. So I'll allow that ko, and instead I'll push here and try to control against your outside group like this. Well, Parching 1 realizes here he is not doing that hot in the game. It's still very small gap, only like 2 points or so. But he hasn't been doing hot in the game the whole way, right? And he's trying to find his chance. He's trying to find his timing. So he tries to get in this one extra move. Hopefully it's going to be like double Sente. So if white would respond to this, then he gets to push white back a little bit, give himself an extra point, keep going on with the game. Fanyenro is not going to be okay with that. So he pushes here. He's like, okay, go ahead. You want to press on my 1 point? Then I want to press on your group dying. Park Xingwan is fearless. He doesn't care. He says, okay, well, you want to fight about groups dying? All right, let's fight about groups dying. Now this one means if white tries to cut over here, black will cut these stones off and then cut these stones off naturally. So hopefully if white cuts here from black's perspective, hopefully these stones are going to be dead at the same time as these, make some sort of seki, and then these stones are going to be weak at the end. So white has to answer. White has to answer, but if black goes back and captures these stones now, then the bottom black stones are bigger, so now black has to answer here, and then white can come back like this. So at the end, black got to push through extra. He got to push all. White was going to get a territory there, it was supposed to be that this is going to be white's area, but now black broke in, right? That seems no good. Black got to break in, but white also got to break in like this. And white also got a big benefit in the form of the potential capture against those 2 stones on the left side. And white's shape in the center became super clean. That capture shape is so much easier to handle than sort of vague connections shapes. This is just so thick. So the game is still absolutely on. Black connects. It's a great move. And white plays cut. So this is part of what Parching 1 was trying to defend when he took that eye earlier with the double Sente move. Now he's going to Atari here. And with this move, this is capture that 1 stone confirmation. That top center black group is clearly alive. So you might be like, what are you talking about? Well, if white tries to kill it by saving this, here, bang, and you can see this stone working wonderfully to capture the white stones and ensure liberty. So that's why white is playing away now. Playing normal endgame, black is playing normal endgame, fixing the weaknesses. And yeah, I guess this was also like aiming at the weakness here, wasn't it? That was also aiming at the weakness here and making sure that this could be safe. What I'm talking about is that if, let's say black tried to kill the right side white group, then you could see Atari and here and here and here. Yeah, I missed it at first that this this white group is also in danger of death, so it saved itself with this move. Now you can see if black really wants to kill it, well, we can connect under, or we can play here, and obviously this is Miai between this. Black does not want to allow white to capture those 2 stones, and therefore put his own center group in danger again, so he just tenukis, reducing the bottom left, aiming at all those weaknesses, some very serious weaknesses. White doesn't get scared. Fan Yunro plays for the win, trying to attack that topside black group a little bit, but also play endgame. This game is so tight, guys. It's so tight. So just that one exchange on the top side really, really matters. You can see it's so skillful. Just one exchange, the next move would not be Sente, right? Not necessarily be Sente when black can control the center and target this white group. So just the one exchange, that one was pretty forceful, because the next follow-up is going to break all the area and really attack this black. But already by doing that, now when black blocks here, this exchange means that white can hane and has already connected through and broken through a huge amount of this black space. So now black has to hane back. White exchanges the Sente move here, plays this one, and black has to live. So any way that makes sure that we're alive is good. This is the most outside method of living. We can use this Atari, have a clear eye. We have the clear eye back here. And white comes back to clean up this endgame as well. So that monkey jump is now captured. You can see black has to play away, because if black would connect, then that would be doomed. So black says, okay, you could take, come back and capture here anytime later. Yeah, if black had connected, that would have been his Sente, but he never had a time to. At this time, the moment that that his upper right center group was not in danger, that he wasn't like saving that. I mean, I guess this is his moment where he has to do it. But at this moment, if you try to go here, it's not a great. It's not very good, because we're thickening the opponent who we're about to try to reduce from the center. So you can see how it is like very awkward for Parshing-Wan. He was trying to use some of the white weaknesses over here, and then white fixed them as they fixed the monkey jump. The endgame was just too hard. So Parshing-Wan played that Atari, and played this cut, played this. He was clearly thinking about making a ko in the upper left, but he didn't. He played here. And this was the critical losing move of the game, because now Fan Yunro played first in exchange and connected here. And after that, now Parshing-Wan can take some Sente, but the whole upper left corner is going to be white's, and finally white has a clean, clear advantage into the end of the game. The only way for Parshing-Wan to still have a chance in this game was to play the ko. So if he had played hane here and then throw in like this, you can see white can't answer, because that would be snapback. So white can capture, and black can Atari here, and white can fill a liberty, and we get a ko like this. And now if black can win this ko for minimal compensation to white, that's going to be a huge move. The total swing, usually if you want to calculate the total swing for this kind of thing, you can think about it by area, compared to like when white wins and when black wins, what areas are controlled by both sides. So in this case, if white wins, you can see white is getting all of the area up to the corner. So that is we can say this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So about 20 points, which if black wins, those are all going to be black's area. And then there's the additional little bit here and a little bit here that you have to like calculate. If you were going to calculate that precisely, you can do it with area calculation. I think it's not that useful. I don't think I'm ever going to win or lose a game because I calculated the dame correctly with area calculation. I'd rather use territory calculation to figure out those precise details of how big stuff is. But if you're trying to figure out how big a ko is, then you can tell, okay, here, this ko, when I win versus when black wins is about 20 points by area, where it's either going to be white stone or black stone at the end, right? So that's a really big ko. And in comparison, what black did here, this was also really big. But white got to basically win that 20-point ko with this move. And black got the sente here, so yeah, he exchanged these moves, just exchanging them. He got the sente to do this, so he pushed into white territory a couple points. And if white had played here, then that would have pushed into black territory. However, because black was so strong, he wouldn't have really had to answer to that white move, especially since the ko is going on. Like, the ko would be bigger than that all the time, so black still has a chance to come back and play this, I think, after the ko. Excuse me, in the way that a real game would play out. So, finally, here, that was sort of a missed opportunity for Park Chung-hwan. And the main reason why it's a missed opportunity, to be honest, is just that it should be really obvious that this game is a lost Endgame. And at least to me, the other one is not very obvious that this is a lost Endgame. I really can't figure it out. But this one, I actually can figure it out. This one, black is just down on points, and there's very little stuff that he can do here. I mean, obviously the game is really complicated, but this cut was a brilliant move by Fan Yin-ro to confirm the winning endgame, where black really does not want to fall back and allow a complete squeeze by white and center control for white. So first, black tries to fight for the center control, but that means that white can say, well, you didn't take my liberty at all. And then white gets the full squeeze down there, and to pull back this one stone, forcing black to now capture those two stones to make a proper life. And white is still getting basically the center area and the reduction to the top side. That was excellent. Absolutely sublime endgame by white there. And you can see the game finish off very gently. You guys might wonder, why was this game so important to me? It really is. It really is. This game is so important to me. This is like my 7th take trying to explain why this game means so much to me. You may have heard recently that Daniel Naroditsky passed away. He was a grandmaster of chess. He was a popular YouTuber, Twitch streamer of chess. And he was my main role model when I established this channel. I looked at chess channels for inspiration, for what my UI should be, presentation. But when it comes to commentary style and general pedagogy, teaching, and entertainment, and joy for the world, Daniel Naroditsky, to me, he was the role model. And now he's gone. He was 29. It is a tragedy. It's a shame. And the reason why this game is important to me between Fan Yin-ro and Park Chung-hwan is because Fan Yin-ro is gone too. He was 24. He won this tournament for China in 2017. And he died in 2020. I watched a few of his games live. And he is, to my knowledge, he's the only player who I've seen live. I've tried to study his game live. He's dead. It's a tragedy. And it happens. It's so easy to imagine how it happens because these games of Go and chess are so individualistic. They demand so much knowledge and skill and pressure, mental pressure. And they disconnect you a little bit from the world. Everyone's had that experience. It's hard to explain what happened in your Go game to your friends. I wanted to share with you, you're not alone. Suicide hotlines are there. If you have suicidal thoughts, that's what they're there for. You can call 988 in America, or the suicide hotline. You can look it up where you are. It's meaningful. And you can also reach out to people personally. I want to share, I've known a few people who shared with me that they were having suicidal thoughts when I knew them through my life. And fortunately for me, they are all alive. The main and most important thing is that those people are living entirely different lives now. Life is so long. It is so much longer than anybody having suicidal thoughts thinks that it is. Suicide is not a solution to any problems. And all the people I know who have not committed suicide are living lives so different now than the lives that they were living at the time. Life is so long. Even I'm living a way different life. I'm 26. And the life I've lived up till now, compared to what I thought I would live when I was 18, is completely different. And life is so long. It's very similar to when you're a beginner in Go and you lose 5 stones on move 40. You think that should end the game. Of course, we know. Us Go players, we know it doesn't end the game. By the time you're on move 312, you won't even remember that 5 stones were lost on move 40. And it's the same thing when it comes to suicidal thoughts. Life is so long that by the time you're 15 years older, you won't even really remember how bad you felt at the time if you have problems. I wanted to say like this because it's really important, guys, that in times like this, we take care of each other. Say something nice to someone. If you are human, you are loved.